If you're using Retell AI, then this video is going to be for you. Retell AI is a super amazing platform, and Go High Level even uses it, but it lacks the quality of a good white label type of dashboard. And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to build out a totally white label dashboard exactly like this, that you can change colors, you can change anything you want in here, but it has this custom stats in here, and then a full log system in here. It shows your calls, inbound, outbound pricing. You'll be able to play the transcripts, view the transcripts, and it's all in there for you or your client as a white label platform. So my name is Alters. I run my own AI agency and have my own school mentorship program exactly like this. And in this video, we're going to go through building out that platform, connecting it to N8N like this, connecting it to a big Google spreadsheet like this that your client can also have with all the data in, and eventually connect it all into a white label dashboard that you can chop, change colors, logos, change the logs, totally reusable, customizable for Retell AI very specifically. So let's get into this video. There's going to be lots of information. I'll show you we can download all these awesome things. You can clone this, download this, get all this by just joining an awesome community. And I'll show you the free version of this as well. So let's get into it. It's going to be super fun, and there's going to be lots of cool stuff to learn. So let's get into this awesome video. So what will we need? Obviously, you're going to need a Retell AI account. You're going to have some sort of AI assistant, and we're going to go over the basics of it if you haven't set it up yet. But go get yourself Retell AI. Then you're going to need N8N, and we'll go over it soon. But Hostinger has got a self-hosting plan that is a lot cheaper than actual N8N, and we'll go over that really soon. Then you're going to need Lovable, and I'll give you the blueprint eventually when we're done. But you need a Lovable account for us to build this out and host this. And I'll give you the prompt, and I'll give you the Lovable total machine to actually just remix so you can have the dashboard as well. And then obviously we're going to have our database, which is going to be built in a Google Sheet format like this. And I'll give you this one with the sample data. So I've just created about 36 columns of sample data just throughout the year. So we have a bit of a graphing thing to go on. You need data to show the graph out, right? So we're going to go through here. I'm going to show you how we connect all of these up together. So first things first, so let's go ahead into Retell AI. And what I have down here is just a really basic demo account. So it's just in here. I've just made something up. It's just a Retell AI assistant for a real estate agency. And we're just going to call it up, and we're going to get it to leave a message for the real estate agent called David. And that's what we're going to put in the dashboard. So we just, for testing purposes, need a bit of data in here. But here behind my head is for where your prompt goes in. Now, to extract data from within a conversation, it is in the post analysis tab down here, and it's just a matter of adding in here. And what are we going to extract from our call once we're done? And I've just have the name in here, and I've the email address in here, but it's a matter of adding the text, giving it a name, saying what we should extract. And the whole GPT large language models in the backend is going to analyze your call, and it's going to actually go out and find whatever you say in here. So if it's, for example, in here, I have in here that we need to find the name, and I'll just give some examples. The name of the call is David, Mike, and so forth, and in the email address. So it's just a bit of post call analyzing that you can do with Retell AI, where it's incoming or outgoing. Really good. Now, the next thing you are going to need is to configure a webhook. Now, anytime a function or something happens within Retell AI, it's going to send data via webhook. It can be either when a call starts, it's going to be an incident that happens. If we are going to call a function in here, if we are going to look through the knowledge base, those are all events that's going to get triggered by a webhook. Now, you can't say that for this instant, do this webhook, for this instant, do this webhook. Pretty much all events happen and get sent the file payload to a webhook. And it's always the same webhook. So we're just going to have to build out a bit of filtering, and I'll show you how that works in Innate and really cool as well. But we're going to come through in here, and it's the webhook settings, and you're going to put your webhook down here. So what's going to happen is once we make the call, you're going to get some stuff. Once we take some messages, and then at the very end, Retell Ai is going to put everything together in a package. This package is going to contain everything from your cost data to how long the call was, the times, the ID, the audio recording of it as a URL, the transcript, the summary. The whole works it goes out and puts together as like a one mass output or payload to this webhook. So everything's going to come through in here. So to get this in here, what you need to do is get Innate in. So whether you are already self-hosting this, or if you have it set up on your own device, or you use Innate in service itself, doesn't matter. You're going to need to have it somewhere. Now, just to come in here to give you an example quickly, innate.io, it comes out to about, I think about it, when we come in here, and we're going to come through in pricing, and you see it's about £20 a month to $26 a month, and then there's some limitations to it as well, so it can get a bit expensive, but you can self-host this on your own device or any other devices, and a lot of self-hosting options in there. However, to start up a service within the internet, so a live outside self-hosting service, can be complicated sometimes. Hostinger has made this super easy, where you have one click button to host an Innate instance. So it's a virtual machine that runs within the cloud, and it's so cool. And like you can see, $7 a month compared to the $23 a month. Now I'll even give you a code to give you more discount. The code and the link will be down the bottom. It's literally coming in here, choosing your plan, and once you have your plan up and running, let's give it a second to load. Lots of cool stuff that just goes with it, but you can see you save over here, $264. So what's not? Well, what don't you want? Do you not want to save a lot of money? And you can see even here, if you keep going along, you get a chance to save up to $430 a month. So make sure you fill it out. You just follow it as I do. I've made lots of other videos about starting it up, but it's literally one click, select it in. It will host it, and there's a button that says manage your services, and just like that, literally you'll have an Innate server that pops up. Now, once you have Innate started, you will come and create a new workflow. So let me quickly duplicate this one for you. We'll have a quick look through here. Once your Innate starts up, you will have something that looks like this. Now, mine is loaded up with a bunch of cool stuff already. I've worked on this for a long time, but you're going to create a new workflow, and I'll move this in so we can see a little bit in here. We're going to go create a new workflow, and in here, we're going to hit the plus button, and you're going to say webhook, and webhook in here, and you'll have this. Now, make sure you change this get to a post in here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to work with the production one. Now, if you watched a lot of other videos with Innate and webhooks, you see you can put it in the test option, and then have a listen out in here, and then you will get some data in. But the problem with this is that every event that we're going to get a lot of data for it. Like I say, we're going to make the call, make the function. We're going to keep receiving things, so you're going to have to go test, listen, test, listen, test, listen. And the easiest thing to actually just go and do is come up and hit the production button, click that one to copy it. Then you're going to go through and activate it, save it in here, and then you're going to hit back to your Retell AI. We're going to come back in here, and that's where you put this one in here. All right, so you're going to put your innate in webhook in here. Now I'm going to close this one. I don't need that one. I have it up here and running. It's going to hit the save button for a second, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So let me move this over towards this side. Okay. Just before we start this, make sure again that our webhook is on. The webhook in here that you have in here, it says it's posted. We have that copy function in here. So we've copied it, the production one. So not the test one. We're looking for the production one. And I'll show you because we're going to have 3 events that's come in and we're going to build out a little filter function for it. And you'll see how it works really soon. So we're going to copy that one. We're going to make sure this says post in here. Then we're going to make sure that it's active and that you're saved in here. And you're going to just click in here and click the execution one. And now these are ones that I've done earlier on. We're just going to leave that out. Don't worry about the stuff on the side here. I'm just going to keep zooming in on these. And we are going to look at the executions here on the side. And you'll see, so I'm just going to call the agent in here. We're going to have a start call, a finish call, and then when the call gets analyzed. So let me call this assistant. And again, it can be incoming, outgoing. It does not matter.
Hello, Sarah from Number One Real Estate. How can I help you today?
Hello, I want to leave a message for David, please.
Of course. I'd be happy to take a message for David. Could I start with your full name?
Frank Smith.
Thank you, Frank. Are you looking to buy a property or sell a property in Hollywood?
I am looking at selling my house.
Great. What's the best email address for David to reach you at?
It's going to be frank123@gmail.com.
Perfect. What message would you like me to pass along to David?
Let's have a coffee tomorrow.
Perfect. I have all your details. Frank Smith, selling a property, frank123@gmail.com, and your message about having a coffee tomorrow. David will get back to you within 24 hours. Thanks for calling David Mitchell Real Estate.
Thank you. Goodbye. So we have a call that's going to come in, and let's give it a second. It's going to have the end call, and it's going to have the analyzing the call. So literally, when you come in here and you click on it, and we can just, if you keep looking down here, I'll double click on the webhook in here. It shows the parameters down the side, down the bottom here. There's a call has started. And for this one in here, as a call has ended. And in here, we have, double click on this, we have a call analyzed. Now, this is the one we're going to go with. This is what we're going to build out in. So if I move my face a little bit on this side again, all we're going to hit is that little pin data in here. And we can go from it. In fact, we're going to go through and copy to editor. So we're going to click that part in here. So once you're done, you're going to come through in here and you'll see it will look purple like this. It just means it's pinned our data for us. So when you double click on here, you can see that it says pin data in here, and it means it's pinned all that payload for us. So we can start building the automation out from it. We don't have to redo it every time. And if we're going to go look through this payload, you'll see there is a lot to it. Let me quickly show you here what I mean. So if we scroll down, you'll see all the payload. We got our caller IDs. We got our agent name is what we want in here. And we got our timestamps in here. We got the transcript in here. And then this is going to go through every conversation. It actually just locks every yes, no conversation in here. And we don't need all of those things in here. So we're going to cut those out a little bit. We're going to move all these transport objects. We're not going to need any of that. We're going to need any of the tool calling. We're going to need this URL. And there we are going to look at the call costs and the latency in here. So call costs, when you scroll down, you can actually see how much total duration the call was and actually the total amount of cents in here. So we're going to want those 2 things in here. We're going to want the summary. But we don't need any of these other things in here. And we're going to want the inbound, outbound numbers in here. So because we get to pin the data, we now need to do a couple of good things with it. And the first thing is, because we have all those other executions to it, we need to build in and add an if module to it. So I'll show you what that one looks like. So all we're going to say is that if it shows call analyzed, then we're going to proceed with the event. Now, I've built some of these out in here already, but all we're going to hit is the plus button, and it's the if statement in here. It's this one in here. And once you have it bring in, you're just going to have it look like this. So we'll come through and I'll add these ones in here as we build along so you can see how that works. So double click in here, it's the if one that comes in, and all I'm saying is that if that event that we have is equal to call analyze, then we're going to proceed with the automation, because we don't need anything else. We don't need the first time calling. We don't need to start an event, the end event, the function calling. We only want to do this execution once the call is completed and start it with the analyzing thing for it. So that's just a little parameter in there that says only work with it. So we're going to skip out on all those other executions, and it will make sense later on. So now the next thing that we want to do is edit a couple of fields. So if we pop back in here, you will see that it's like the timestamp. So we scroll down, the time the call started. Now this long number, it says it's a Unix calling code or a Unix time. So we can copy this in here. We can go to Google and I can just look up Unix time converter. That just means pretty much from the start of 1970 in milliseconds till now is this time. So if I come in here and I paste this in here, you can see it will convert it and it will tell us what time we actually made the call in New Zealand time, 11:57 when I did this. So how do we transparent transcribe all this in here? We're gonna just have to build out a bit of code to it. So how do we do this for us so we can actually say that this call was done on this and this time rather than the Unix timestamp, because it's not going to make any sense as you build out the dashboard. So we are going to use a custom code for it, and I'll show you how that works. And as well, a couple of other things we want to do. We want to come out and we want to find the total time of the call, and we just want to change that to seconds as well, but we want to round them all down. So we're going to round down a couple of things. So the call cost, for example, as well. So it's come through in here. Like I said, a lot of data in here. Then after latency, so call cost, we want to round down as well. So 10.7773, if we're going to put that in the shell, it's just going to time out. So let's just round that down. So that should be 11. Duration, we're going to make sure it's in a couple of seconds. So just a couple of things to go through, and then we're going to build out a unique ID number as well for every call, because every call is unique to do through, and it has that in here in the header, but all we're going to do is create a very specific code for us. So to do that, we're just going to say the next step in here is going to be a thing called code. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I struggle writing this custom JavaScript for us, and all I did was have a good conversation backwards and forwards with ChatGPT for it, and what I end up getting is this cool code in here. Now, if we double click on this, we say execute in this, you'll see that it decides that it's true. So come through in here, it's going to go through branch number 1, the true branch, and we're going to come up to code in here. Now let me move all these over in here, these over a little bit like this. And all we're saying is we are going to input a bunch of things. So what we do is we input the original Unix time code so we can get a proper formatted date. And then we are going to put in the duration and make sure that we take that milliseconds and put it into proper seconds. Then we're going to put in the time cost, and we're going to summarize or round it off to the nearest top or bottom decimal. And then we're also going to take and create a unique calling code for us as well. And then a couple of other things that's really important to do in here is with that code, we're going to filter out the month and the year. Just for when we're going to start creating graphs, we want to actually have a total graph for September, a total graph for October, and so on and so forth. So a bunch of code in here. All it's going to say is do those things, change it over, and then make sure you change this to your time zone for it. And what happens when we execute this? Really cool thing that happens in here. And this payload in here comes out. So the call date is going to be like this. So it's converted it for us. Duration in here then it has the month, which is September, the year in here, and then it has a unique calling ID number for us that we have created. So super cool, super helpful for in here. Really just extra stuff in there that's going to help with your graph creation tool. So keep that in mind. It's not a must. If you want to extract these over to Google Sheets, you can do so. These are just extras that I like to have. Likewise with this one in here, and this is called a custom field map. So, and again, it's just in here, it's plus fields. And all we're going to do is just name our own fields. So just so we don't have to go backwards and forwards every time we want to map stuff. And all I meant with this, and put this in here, all I did in here is every time we have something on the left hand side in here. So instead of going to our webhook and mounting all these, so now if I want to, for example, if I would have had to use this later on in any of the other modules and I want the transcript, I'd have to come through very far down, find the transcript, and then drag that through. All I'm doing is I'm putting the fields together in a bit of a summary. So I go through and take those conversions. I create a date, a duration, a from, and when I execute this and I move this back out this way, you'll see what I mean. So it's just a bit of a summary for us, just makes it a bit tidier. So all I have is all this information in here, and that's just everything I need. I want the date, the duration, the from and two numbers, the caller name, the email address that we extracted, the cost, the summary. Is it a positive, negative, neutral? The URL that we have in here is really cool and important. And the transcript, the month, the year, the voice error agent, are unique ID in here. And then if this is an inbound and outbound call. So instead of having to go through all of those, I just create these cool custom variables. Now, this is where it's going to get cool and we can start doing a bunch of cool stuff with it. So just to summarize, all we're doing is we're taking Retell AI, we're making a call. Once the call is done, it's going to keep sending information to our webhook URL, and just to make sure we only use the execution that's important to us, that contains the biggest payload of things, we're going to add an if module in here, and it says that if there is the data that says call analyze, then we're going to execute this workflow. Then we have a bit of code to edit things just so we can convert those Unix times, convert the durations, extract the month, extract the year, extract the cost, and get a calling ID from here. And then we're just going to add this custom fields. This is really just a nice to have. So instead of dragging things outwards and forwards all the time, this just makes it super cool, super easy. And really, that's a lot of your work done. Now that we have the data, we're going to add it to a dashboard. And once we have it, or into a database, and once we have that, we'll be able to then prompt Lovable to put it in a cool theme for us. So let's go in and start the next part. The next part is going to be adding the Excel sheet to us. So you'll need this exact kind of same Google Sheet, or if you're going to replicate this, you'll just have to give the columns the same name or work with the columns from here. But having these actual names and positions in here is obviously very important because we're going to use it. And all I did in this example is I asked ChatGPT to replicate a bunch of data so I can copy and paste it over. So these are all just made up mock data, and I've made sure that I've added a couple of things over a couple of months so we can see a bit of stats later on when we build this out in Lovable. But for now, I'm just going to hit the delete on these in here. So I'm just going to select all of the columns. It's important that we have the first row in here because obviously those have our descriptions. So make sure we have all those in there. And now all I'm going to do is we're going to head back to N8N and I'm going to say add in here, and it's going to be a sheet. It's going to be a Google Sheets, and we are going to append a row. Now, if you're starting this out and you haven't done it before, make sure you connect your N8N and Google Sheets together. It's a matter of creating some credentials or authentication in here. This it gives you, you're going to need your ID and you're going to need your secret. And once it's connected, you sign in with Google and it's green like this, and know it's good to go, because in here, when you have the drop down in here for pending a row and look for the sheet, you'll be able to see your sheets in here. And obviously, I'm going to use that one down in there. So as easy as that. Then we're just going to map these out. So I'm just going to say sample data in here, and then I'm just going to map all of these out. And it's literally just a matter of dragging them over. So for the idea, it's put the first one in there, but the rest should be very similar. So come through in here, the call date, the duration, and I'm just going to go through and drag all of these. So I'll pause it through and let me just quickly drag all of those in and out, and then I'll come back to you quickly. Right, like that, we're done. And all of it was just drag and copy those over. They all just match call ID, name, emails. We got the URLs and all those cool things in there. So we're up and ready to go. And when I hit the execute through in here, it will take a second, come through in here. And when we look in here, we will see that there's our row in there. So that's really as easy as that. So let's go give it a proper try. When we come back into N8N, we're going to hit the save in here. First we're going to do is we're going to untick that and hit the save in. And then this is all running, and we're going to give our agent a call. We're going to come back to executions. Now let's come through in here. And I'm going to give it a call, and we should see them fill up and stack up here in the top. Let me hit the call button.
Hello, Sarah from Number One Real Estate. How can I help you today?
Hello, I need to leave a message for David, please.
Of course, I'd be happy to take a message for David. Could I start with your full name?
Marcus Smith.
Thank you, Marcus. Are you looking to buy a property or sell a property in Hollywood?
I want to buy one of his houses.
Great. So what's the best email address for David to reach you at?
ibuyhouses@gmail.com.
Perfect. What message would you like me to pass along to David?
Give me a call back because I want to sell my house.
Thank you for letting me know, Marcus. Just to confirm, you're interested in selling your house in Hollywood and would like David to give you a call back. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you.
Perfect. I have all your details. Marcus Smith, seller, ibhouses@gmail.com, and your message about wanting a call back to sell your house. David will get back to you within 24 hours. Thanks for calling David Mitchell Real Estate.
All right. So there we go. In fact, there's our data in here. It's come through. Marcus has come in and it's gotten that one in through in here, and we're good to go. So yeah, very interesting. For some reason, it's put this one in here actually. So don't the reason this one has actually come through is quite right. I did do 2 calls on my phone. So you'll see a big unknown in here. Nothing has happened for this one. When I did the dialing, I did a dial and a hang up. So nothing has come through in here. But there we go. This is our call log. This is Marcus. It's come through. I buy houses. It's a positive interaction. Obviously, if you want to listen to the audio, it comes through and you can play that.
Hello, Sarah from Number One Real Estate. How can
One of his houses. That in there, and yeah, so it's got all the cool stuff that we need for our dashboard. So what we're gonna go through and do is now link this all up to Lovable. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit there, copy all this. So let's delete this row so it doesn't get confused with it. And then I'm gonna copy these two rows. I'm gonna Control C that. Then I'm gonna go back, cancel those, come through in here, and we can paste all those down in here. And as we can see, those all really match up. And sweet, done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna share this module. I'm gonna make sure we get this link in here, and you want the link. Now, what I'm going to do is let's head over to Lovable. Just find ourselves a nice Lovable dashboard in here. And let's go get this out as much as we can. And this always goes a problem. It works, then it doesn't work, then it stops working. I want you to build a dashboard for a voice AI assistant. The dashboard is going to have 2 pages. One is going to be a dashboard summary page for our voice AI assistant, and the second page is going to be a log page that contains all the data. So on the first page, the dash page for the dashboard, I want things like total calls for the month, total duration for the month, if it's inbound and outbound. I want cool graphs. I want a whole year chart. So for the whole January till this month now as well. I want durations. I want total call costs for the month. And then I want a monthly cost breakdown. And I want you to use all sorts of things like graph charts. I want pie charts. I want circular charts. I want to make it really cool and make it really look wow and interesting. Now, for the log page, I will give you the columns and rows soon for it. I want the entire page to be themed out in a dark theme with neon colors in for it. There's also going to be a refresh button in the top to refresh your data. However, every time someone loads the page, you need to reload the data. So our data is going to come from a Google Sheet. I will give you the shared Google Sheet drive first. This is important. We won't have an API key to connect to our Google Sheet straight away. So every time you need to convert the Google Sheet to a CSV format. So every time we're going to refresh the page into CSV data for us, and then display it up on our page for us. I will give you the sheet URL, and I will give you the columns and rows as well. So make it clickable, make it really good looking, have that dark theme in there, really spend some time deep thinking about the dashboard and how it should be displayed with graphs and line charts. Things like monthly summaries for total inbound calls, outbound calls, total call costs, and then yearly summaries as well, so we can have a good display about how good our phone system works. I'm going to add this up, and then I'm going to say the Google Sheet URL is, oops, I did not want that. The Google Sheet URL is that. We're going to copy our link in here. Gonna hit that back. Gonna paste our link out in here. And the column and rows are, and then I'm gonna just hit this in here, and we'll see how smart our actual AI is for this. So I'm gonna copy that, And we're gonna paste this in here. And I'm gonna say this is an example of the log file for us. I'm about to save something very, very important that I want you to pay attention to as well, but let's hit this copy and paste in here, and we'll let Lovable build this out. And we're gonna hit that send button there. So, two very, very important things. Oh, and it totally failed and all that. Now, not sure what happened there with Lovable, but it stopped. I'll just hit the refresh button. They actually captured all of it for us. So it might just be a little bit slow with building it out. But here's some important facts that I want to show you. If you are going to actually build this out, I need you to start thinking about implementing and adding Superbase to it. So this is the Superbase module, and it looks very similar to it. So what you're going to do is create a new blank Superbase account, and all you need to do is map your Superbase data exactly the same as in here. So there's different ways of creating Superbase accounts. You can ask your chat GPT about it, but all you need to do is go through and in Superbase, you create a new table and rows, and it's exactly the same thing as I did in here, linking it up together. In fact, let's delete that one. And we can add this through in here, and you'll see it's all linked up as well. And it just works the same where we have in Superbase, we've created a data structure for this, and we just map everything out through exactly the same way as well. Now, the reason we're putting it in Superbase is a couple of reasons. So, what I just did there earlier on is I'm telling Google Sheets and I'm telling Lovable to find Google Sheets, then convert Google Sheets to CSV. And you can see it's going to take a little bit of time to do that. And we might have to prompt Lovable each now and then, but it downloads a sheet and then converts it to CSV. Then it displays our data. And there's a lot of processing in there in the background. And if you're going to have a lot of calls, that's going to take a while and it's going to become really slow. So that's going to be problem number one in this instance of what might happen if you do that, a lot of manual action. And secondly, we're going to talk, it's more about the security side of your dashboard. So this is built out in Lovable, and it's not going to have any sort of security measure for us. Okay, so anyone can come to your site and it's pretty much done. And anyone can come in here, look at it, click on it, go through it. You want a username and password functions for someone to log in there. But here it's done, right? So the other way is adding your Superbase database to it, adding a username and password to it, and having it more secure, and the data handling is going to be a lot better. Like you can see in here, there's a couple of things that we're missing around. So I'm going to have to ask, go backwards and forwards and see if we can fix it. But it's the first look of it. It's pretty good effort for first time around. Let me actually just completely move my face out of the way for a second in here. And I'll just leave it on the side. And this is what we have. We have our dashboard. Well, a good looking dashboard. Our calls does go up in January. We have our monthly average calls. So I've only added basic data in there, but obviously these colors are a bit bad. Call sentiment, that's terrible. A call direction here. Let me actually just see if our columns have lined up when I put it back in here. So our calls and positive it. So let's go backwards and forwards and see if we can fix these a little bit. But all right, here we can. Yeah, that does not work. Number direction, date and time, caller, number direction. Those do not line up at all. But at least the play button works. So let me go backwards and forwards, do a bit of prompting in it, and see what I can come up with. So this is here where I'm always a little bit impressed about how good Lovable is. So, and I'm sure Bolt and all those are very similar and can do the same sort of things. But what I did in here is all I set in the top was just one line. I said, hey, look, your call logs as the columns are all a bit out of order. Um, Go fix it. And I need you to think also that the transcript is really long. And I think that's where the big problem came from, is there's a longer list of data in the transcript, and therefore those columns didn't load up. And I used the chat function in here, so it's a bit of a planning chat to it. It looked at it, I thought about what I said, it came up with a beta plan, and then I said implement the plan, and it chucked it out, and this is really the result. And I'll move my head out the way again. I just thought it works so well straight off. And you come in here and you see now the dashboard's fixed. You got all the proper values in here. It looks a lot better. And this looks like this because I on purpose, when I did the normal prompt to enter that data in for us, I said there's 4 calls every month. So it entered the 4 calls. Obviously, we just tested 2 calls. So it's a bit of a spike in here for September for us. But it has it in here. It's got the markdowns, how much it costs, your average durations in there for the months. So really cool data. And of course, you can now add and change anything you want. You got data. Just think how you want to manipulate it and how you want to display it. Pie charts, visual charts, line graphs, all of this in here really to be white labeled out for you. And as you can see in here, the whole log thing proper now, columns and numbers all match up. You can see the inbounds and outbounds. You can see if they're positive or negative. It's, yeah, just works awesomely well. And if you can see these two, so obviously these data is a little bit behind, but here's the ones from 9/11 today from Marcus Smith, and there's the Frank Smith one, and we can see in here, click down here, it brings the transcript up for us if you want to read for the transcript. And if we want to go through and play the audio, downloads the WAV file. Now you can embed the WAV file playment if you want to.
Hello, Sarah from Number One Real Estate.
If you want to play embedding, but it's all in there. Works up, works well. Look at those. There you go. Transcripts in there, summaries in here. All of these obviously fake data, so it's not going to be much in those. But great. It just works. It actually just did this, and this is going to be super valuable. If you're going to sell this for a client, really cool and really awesome and like this. So, and again, you can set it, you can change it, you can edit this, you can add your white label logo to it. It just works, and it's really easy as long as we have that data. So, really cool automation. Um, that does a bunch of things. And again, you don't have to have those. You can download this if you need to. I highly suggest you add this in a super base format, especially if you're going to add a lot of extra things to it. Um, it's just going to make your data handling a lot easier. You're going to be able to set up a username and password. In here, we can come back through in here, and it's got native Superbase integration in here. And it just makes things a bit more professional and safer. It just takes a little bit longer for that. But again, it just works really easy by manipulating, finding data from Retell AI, and putting it in some sort of system. Okay, so hope that all made sense. Now, you might be wondering, where do you get all of these? So the first and most obvious thing in place to get all of it is if we come through and you actually come to the paid community. It's only a couple of dollars. You get a bunch of stuff for free. So besides all the cool training modules, you'll get things like unlimited go high level, all the retail packages, and massive sales training programs. So lots of really cool free stuff. In the classroom, the training modules, totally insane. Resources to download, everything from Voice AI, Innate, Mag.com, vibe coding, AI chatbots. Not only that, I'll give you the systems, but then I'll show you how to do the marketing, how to find leads as well, and then how to do the sales. Like 50 hours of sales from experts in here. So it's really a total training package. Now, if you don't want any of this, you want to cut some shortcuts through, I'll leave the blueprints in the free community for you. I'll keep the little website for ourselves so we can use the Lovable site for us. But if you're going to come through in here, and it's going to be in here with all the other cool, awesome free stuff that I give away as well. There's just a lot of it. Okay, so lots of places to find all these cool and free and amazing stuff. All of this is in here. There's the 5-day free course, and there's the instant AI agency. So literally like one click launch your AI agency, and in one click start selling AI in one click as well. Total awesome packages, right? So make sure you go check out all these things. I really hope you like this. Take the time to follow, subscribe. Lots of other cool videos. I've just released a bunch of other cool new things. These Alex Amazing ones in here goes out really well. So yeah, talk to you all soon, and all the best and build cool AI stuff exactly like this. Thanks for watching the video. So talk to you all later.